The clouds had been blowing in off the ocean for the last hour, an ominous foreboding of the late September storm moving up the Miami coast. It was just past 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but the sky was dark as night. Alicia Monroe drove across Florida's Rickenbacker Causeway toward Virginia Key Park, located on the island of Key Biscayne. Most of the traffic moved in the opposite direction, as the island had a tendency to flood during fierce storms. According to the National Weather Service, the storm headed their way would bring at least 6 inches of rain, plus high winds, thunder, and lightning. Alicia pressed her foot down harder on the gas. As her tires skidded on the already damp pavement, a voice inside her head told her to slow down, that a picture wasn't worth her life. But the adrenaline charging through her body made slowing down impossible. She'd been obsessed with electrical storms all her life. She'd grown up hearing her Mayan great-grandmother speak of lightning gods. Then her father had told her tales about the incredible blue balls of fire and red flaming sprites he'd witnessed while flying for the Navy, and later as a civilian pilot. Their tales had enthralled her, but they'd been an embarrassment to the rest of the family, especially to her mother and her older siblings, especially when her father had begun to tell his stories outside the family. No one in the family had appreciated the fact that a former Navy hero was now being referred to as Lightning Man. A wave of pain ran through her at the memories of her father, and the foolish nickname that had in fact foreshadowed her father's tragic death years later in a fierce electrical storm. She'd been 16 years old when he'd taken his last flight. It was supposed to be a typical charter run, to drop a hunting party in the mountains and then return home. But after dropping the men at their destination, her father's plane had run into a massive storm. When the rain stopped and the sun came back out, there was no sign of her father or his plane. He'd quite simply disappeared somewhere over the Gulf of Mexico. Everyone assumed he'd crashed. They'd sent out search parties to find him, or at least pieces of the plane. But those searches had returned absolutely nothing. How a man and a small plane could completely vanish seemed impossible to accept, and she'd spent years trying to find an answer. But so far, that hadn't happened. What had happened was her increasingly obsessive fascination with storm photography. Her sister Danielle thought she was looking for her dad in every flash of lightning. Her brother Jake thought she was crazy, and her mother Joanna just wanted her to stop challenging Mother Nature by running headlong into dangerous storms. But like her dad, Alicia didn't run away from storms. She ran toward them.